Hello everyone, I am Roshni Patel from the Electrical Engineering Department of Mahatma Gandhi Institute of Technical Education and Research Center, Navsari, and the name of the subject is Effective Technical Communication. Subject code is 313004. So here today we will discuss about chapter number 3, that is Technical Communication. So here flow of content. First is group discussion and next is presentation strategies. First is group discussion. So first question will arise in our mind is that what is group discussion? So here group discussion, as you can see so in the picture, group discussion is a systematic oral exchange of information, views, ideas and opinions about a particular topic. Nowadays, the importance of teamwork and group communication has increased in almost all technical fields. So, this is why most of organizations now search for such people who can interact successfully in groups. So here in group discussion, particular number of people meets face to face to interact. Through this discussion, they originate, share and discuss ideas to arrive at a decision or solution to a problem. Group discussions are widely used in many organizations for decision making and problem solving. Group discussions are also used widely as a personality test for evaluating several candidates simultaneously. They also help to select candidates for a final interview, especially in a service sector, and to select students for admission to professional institute. So, in this way, group discussion has become an essential part of various organizations and institutes. Then after, next is purpose of group discussion. Here, there are several purposes of group discussions. First is to share and exchange information and ideas. Then after, next is to collect information or feedback on any project, policy or scheme to arrive at a decision on important matters, to solve a problem which is of concern to the organizations as a whole. Then after, it is also used to discuss the issues related to a particular topic in relation to the group itself or for the benefit of a larger audience, and to elaborate upon any work undertaken or research done. So these are the purpose for group discussion. Then after, next is important qualities evaluated by employers during a group discussions. There are 4 different qualities. First is knowledge of the topic, second one is communication skills, third one is group behavior, and fourth one is leadership potential. Let's discuss one by one in detail. First is knowledge of the topic. So here in this topic, you will be able to speak with conviction in a group discussion only if you have in-depth knowledge about the topic. You should be able to grasp and analyze the situation at a deeper level. Means the candidate should have the depth and wide range of knowledge as well as has analytical abilities. The candidates should be able to evaluate the situation from the wider perspective. To be able to participate in group discussions successfully, it is always advisable to keep yourself updated about your surroundings because this will help you speak something about the topic and the rest you can gauge from what others say. Taking initiative, problem solving, and creativity, etc., are required in professional life, and that can be shown in the group discussion. But this will only be possible if you have a proper knowledge and understanding of the topic. For example, the participants are asked to discuss the topic of corruption, a big evil. So, the participants should not only discuss the problems at their own states, but also so at the national and international levels. This approach will make the discussion more interesting. Then after, second one is communication skill. Communication skill is very necessary during the group discussion. During a group discussion, the following skills are evaluated. First is verbal communications. Verbal communication skills means you are expected to use right words with correct sentence constructions. Means if you are able to use error-free language, then it becomes easy for others members of the group to understand your point. Then after, second one is non-verbal communication skills. Means you must use correct body language throughout the discussion, like straight posture, correct gestures, making eye contact with all members, nodding your head while listening, and using appropriate facial expressions. This helps you to gain positive response from the others. Then after, third one is listening skills. Listening skills means you cannot continue the discussions without listening to others. It is important to either take forward the point of the previous speaker if you agree, or put your point mentioning how and why you differ from the previous speaker. Means this is how you have to create the thread of thoughts and weave them to come to a conclusion. You cannot put your independent thought without considering what has already been said. Then after, next is clarity of thought. Means how clear you are about your thought can be shown using intonation, articulation, and voice modulation. Then after, third quality is group behavior. Group behavior means how one reacts in a group is shown by the ability to interact with other members. While doing so, emotional maturity is required. You must be able to remain objective, empathetic, and mature. Means the group behavior of candidates is reflected their ability to interact with other members of the group. The candidates are expected to be more people-centric and less egocentric. You must neither dominate the group nor get dominated by others. Means you must respect each and every member's views and try to cooperate and coordinate with everyone smoothly. Also, being able to listen to all equally is also a desirable group behavior. For example, during the discussion, when someone states personal comment to you, do you keep cool or do you react with anger? The selection panel keenly observes the difference in the behaviors of the candidates. During group discussion, if you don't agree with the ideas of others, you will free to disagree in a modest and appropriate manner. We all know that the ability to convince others is important for achieving success in a group discussion. Then after, fourth one is leadership potential. Leadership potential means the success of any team depends on its leader. A group can't work effectively without a leader. So any group cannot carry on its task without a leader. A leader is one who leads everyone towards the goal. The employers look for leadership qualities in you during the group discussion, because in spite of no appointed leader, the candidates who have these qualities will emerge as leaders. Where can you show your leadership qualities? A leader is an initiator, has knowledge, emotional stability, objectivity, communication skill, control, is a motivator and a decision maker. These are the qualities of leadership in group discussion. By starting or ending the group discussion, you can show you are initiator or decision maker. Means when you are able to calm down hostility among members, you are able to show control, emotional ability and objectivity. You can even show the objectivity by not getting carried away by any opposition in the group and rather consider everyone's view. By encouraging silent members to speak up, you can show that you are a motivator. Thus, you can get opportunities to show your leadership qualities at different points of time in the group discussion. So, in short, during group discussion, employer generally evaluates the candidates by observing the qualities like to be able to give valuable inputs in a group discussion and create a good impression, have a good knowledge about things around you or gather it from what the others speak, communicate using small and error-free sentences, then after make eye contact with everyone in the group, use positive gestures, means our hand movements, keep your postures straight and have a pleasant facial expressions, then after talk with a smile and never try to offend any member of the group even if you disagree with them, then after listen attentively to all, do not jump to your own point and ignore the previous person's point, then after let the previous person finish speaking before you start your own point. Then after encourage others to speak by asking open-ended questions, try to solve any dispute between other members and bring the group back on track. Bring the discussion to end when the time is over by summarizing and concluding. Then after next is presentation strategies. As you can show in the picture, presentation is to explain in a systematic way which should have a formal touch, means for every kind of profession giving presentation has been crucial. There would be different situations in which you need to give presentation in different manners and at the same time you should sound being effective. Presentation is not only limited to deliver our idea or thoughts orally, but when you are to write something in a systematic manner, there too a sound presentation skill is required. So in both the types of communication, means verbal and non-verbal communications, some special set of skills is required. While presenting in writing, certain technicalities are to be followed. So, to be an effective oral presenter, one requires practicing more and more. So, an effective presentation is the one that makes the best use of the relationship between the presenter and the audience. Means it takes full consideration of the audience needs in order to hold their interest, develop their understanding, inspire their confidence, and achieve the presenter's objectives. So here then after next is purpose of presentation strategies. In our student and professional life, you may have to give presentations at many occasions. Every time the purpose of your presentations may be different. These purposes are as follows. First is to give information, to explain a concept in detail. Then after, to present a plan of a project, to delegate work to members of the team, to analyze a problem and sometimes also give recommendations to solve such problems, to create an awareness. Then after, to present the progress of your work, to present in front of your professors for academic purpose, and last one is to persuade the audience to agree with your ideas, usually any business proposals or marketing presentations. So here next is guidelines for perfect presentation. So here as seen above, there are different purposes of presentations. In order to fulfill these purposes, or in other words, in order to make our presentation effective, a thorough presentation is required. In order to make a good presentation, let's divide it into three phases. First is planning, second one is preparing, and third one is presenting. Now we will discuss all these three things in detail. First is planning. So here planning, this is a very important phase with three steps, namely defining purpose, analyzing audience, and analyzing venue, that means place of presentation. So here first is defining purpose. It means clarifying in your mind the purpose of your presentation. You must think and analyze what you want to achieve through the presentation and what all needs to be done for that. Means whether you want to create an awareness or pursued audience, you have to include such illustrations and proofs in your content which backs your thoughts on the topic. Being clear about your purpose is important as it helps in deciding what to present and how to present. Then after next is analyzing audience. Means you must try to find out who is your audience. If you are going to deliver presentation in your college or organization, then you may know everyone. But if you are invited outside your organization, then you must inquire the organizer about the audience. Means once you know the audience, you can note down points which are relevant to your audience, so that while preparing the content you may include such points and examples. Then after next is analyzing venue, means place of the presentation. You must be aware of the place where you have to make the presentation, as it helps in deciding how you are going to present. Means if you have to present outside your organization, then it is advisable to visit the place and check for various things like whether a projector is available or a black or white board, whether a podium will be given or not, how big is the room, whether there is a space for moving around in the room or stage is there or not, etc. So visiting the place gives you an idea how you have to prepare for presentation, and it also helps you in lessening your nervousness due to the fear of unknown. Then after next is preparing for presentation. Means this mainly consists of the content preparation based on your purpose and audience. Now you know what should be included in your presentation. You may gather the information from your books, journals, your knowledge and experience about the topic and take help from other experts in the field. Means while gathering, it is important that you remove data which is not relevant to your purpose. Otherwise, you will end up taking a huge data. Also, the time factor must be kept in mind while choosing the content. So, once you have decided what all needs to be said in the presentation, you must arrange it in order to bring coherence in your presentations. So, the content can broadly be divided into three portions, namely introduction, main body, and conclusion. So, the introduction consists of the introduction of yourself and topics. Means an introduction must be such that the audience becomes curious to listen further. You can use a catchy sentence, a quote, or a story which can be related to the topic. So, in introduction part, you must clarify your purpose and give a brief idea about what you are going to speak. That means the agenda of your presentation. Then after second one is main body. Main body is the entire content and it can be organized using different ways. While preparing the content of presentation, remember the 5 C's. Means clarity, conciseness, completeness, continuity and consistency. We can discuss in the chapter number 1. So, in short, then after next is presenting. And the last part of the presentation is the conclusion, which is very important because it is the time when the speaker leaves an impact in the mind of the audience. Many people complete the conclusion in a hurry, but it is advisable to give considerable time to conclusion. Summarize the whole presentation and remind the audience of your purpose by again mentioning the same story or quote you said in the introduction. This helps the audience retain the information and has a lasting effect in their minds. Then after third one is presenting. This includes the effective use of visual aids, delivery of speech and non-verbal communication. So first is effective use of visual aids. Means the presentation differs from a speech because in it you also show or display what you speak. Showing along with speaking creates more impact in the mind of the audience. Anything which we see, we tend to grasp and remember easier. There are various ways of showing your content to the audience, like writing on a board, showing charts, and through PowerPoint. To make the effective use of all this, you must take care of following points. So here first is check for your requirement. Means whether projector is available or not, laptop or computer is available, or you have to carry your own device, availability of internet connection if required, uninterrupted power supply, etc. Then after next is if you have used board, check for chalk or marker pens. Also check whether marker pens are in working conditions, because if they are not, you will waste your waste your time right in the beginning, and that will create more nervousness in you. So, this may lead to a situation where you may forget certain points. Hence, such small carelessness may become a spoiler for the presentation. Then, after, keep the visual aid visible to the audience by taking care that you or any pillar or anything is not blocking it. Then after, your handwriting must be legible and big enough to make it visible till the end. Then after, font used in a PowerPoint must be simple and big enough so that everyone can read. Avoid using fonts with curves and italics. Then after, do not use too many colors in any visual aid. If you want to differentiate by color, it is advisable to use only 2 colors. Then after, do not change the slide. That means in case of PPT. Then after, chart in case of flip charts, or erase from the boards unless everyone has read the content. Means give enough time to the audience to go through a visual aid. Then after, write only points and not the entire content in the visual aid. Also, do not crowd visual aid with many points. Then after, while speaking, avoid directly reading from the visual aid. Means remember that you are using visual aid to make it easier for the audience and not for you to remember your content. Then after, use your hand or a pointer to point the visual aid whenever you want the audience to have a look at it. Then after, use of diagrams, graphs, photographs, figures or plans must be included as far as possible, as it makes it more interesting. But take care that only one diagram must be there on one slide or chart. And then after, while writing on a board, make optimum use of the board by making parts, and also keep the portion on one side of the board if you have to refer it later. And then after, last one is delivering the presentation. So here, the method of delivery of speech and use of non-verbal communication are the 2 important aspects that one must take care while delivering the speech. The different methods of delivery of speech has been discussed in our previous lecture, along with its advantages and disadvantages. So, it is very clear that delivering the speech with the help of brief notes is the best way, whether it is only a speech or a presentation. As seen earlier, the delivery of speech using notes helps you in doing a presentation without leaving out any point, and it is very flexible. It also helps in making the maximum use of non-verbal communication. And like in any other communication, the role of non-verbal communication is very high in presentation as well. To understand, so as far as presentation is concerned, all the components, namely professional dressings, eye contact with everyone, use of positive gestures means our hand movements, maintaining a correct postures means our physical appearance, and using appropriate facial expressions are important and must be used wisely to enhance what you are saying. You must take care that your body language must be in sync with your verbal communication. So in short, for an effective presentation, First, you must be clear about the purpose of your presentation. Then after, keep the audience in mind while preparing for a presentation. Then after, organize your content using the chronological, categorical, casual or special method with whatever is appropriate for your topic. Then after, start with a smile and use something catchy to create anticipation in the minds of the audience. Do not conclude in haste and leave a point for the audience to ponder. Use body language to enhance the effectiveness of your presentation, like dressing appropriately, making eye contact with everyone, using hand gestures and facial expressions, and having a correct postures. Then after, use of paralinguistics is very important for effective presentation, and make maximum use of space available by moving around on the stage or the room. So here, these are the questions which were asked in previous GTU examination. Thank you.